This tape has been copyrighted. Any duplication or reproduction without written consent is prohibited.
Hey, I've got a bunch of stuff to share with you. The primary thing I'm going to be talking about is how to close. What I'd like you to do is put together some of the questions. I said this on Tuesday night. Some of the issues that you're having problems with, like getting people to meetings, how do closing people on taking advantage of the F&A, closing people on getting involved in the business, everything about closing. I'm going to talk a lot about that. But before I do that, I want to share a couple of things. One of them is we have a 2020 contest in SMART that's happening right now, and we need, in terms of, we have to beat April's volume by 20%. We're going to do that tomorrow. Monday, we should already have surpassed the volume that we did in April by over 100% on Monday with the closing of a couple of loans. But the one thing we need to do is we also have to beat the number of apps. So the goal this month is to submit 40 smart apps. What I want you to do is to take a smart app with every single client that has real property. I don't want you to do any field underwriting. I want you to just take the app and say, we're going to submit it. It may or may not be part of the solution when it comes to eliminating your debt. We're going to find out. All I need to do is take the app. So take the app. There's no charge to the client. It doesn't cost them anything, and we never know. We may be able to help them in that area. If not, we'll do one of the other two solutions. But make sure you take a smart app with every single client, okay? No exceptions. And if there's people that are hanging out there, brothers, sisters, friends, co-workers, take a smart app to help them eliminate their debt. We're not going to do a loan unless we can help them, okay? So don't worry about us. We're not going to do any business with anybody unless we're going to improve their situation. But take a smart app. One of the beautiful things about a smart app is that even if you're not life licensed, you can still do a smart, you can get paid on that business. So it gets to be pretty exciting. So make sure we do that. So the goal is 40 applications, okay? There's a new book. It's not a new book, really, but I wanted to read a couple things out of this and a couple of things out of some other things, and then I'm going to get into what I was going to really talk about. This is another book. It's the sequel to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you don't have this, if you haven't read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you need to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a phenomenal book. As a matter of fact, if you have children, I would make it obligatory to make your children read the book. This summer, my kids are obligated to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. They're reading that this summer. And then as soon as they get done with that, this is the second book I'm going to make them read this summer. So, I feel that strongly about it. It's that important because the number one thing if you think about your own, childhood and growing up, did your parents really teach you how to become wealthy? Did anybody's parents teach them how to become wealthy? No, they didn't, okay? So then, you know what? Wouldn't you have liked for them to have taught you since you were a child how to become wealthy, how to think, what to do with your money? You would have loved that, right? Okay, well, you have a chance to be that parent. And so, not to mention what it'll do for you personally. I think that's the most important thing, is to change your thinking. You'll see as you start reading and developing your mind. I was talking to Rob. Rob just finished Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Christy's reading that right now, right, Christy? I guarantee you, change the way you think, right, Rob? I mean, it really, really opens up your eyes. So if you haven't read it, you're missing out on something personally, and you're missing out on something you could be offering your clients, okay? So the more information you can gather, and the more confident you are about what you're doing, the more attractive you're going to be to people and to your clients, and confident you're going to be to help them do the right thing, okay? It's very, very important. So this book is called The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert T. Kiyosaki. And Robert is, the first book is about him and he had his one father, his real father, was actually in charge of superintendent of schools for the state of Hawaii. Very educated, PhD, all that sort of thing, okay? And he was broke. And then his rich dad was actually his best friend's father, who was a high school dropout but was rich because he owns all kind of businesses, okay? And so it's kind of the whole story about, listening to his poor dad and then listening to his rich dad, and which one should he listen to. And really, education is important, but it's not everything, okay? It's what you do that's important, because knowledge by its... have you ever heard the comment, knowledge is power? It's not true. Applied knowledge is power. okay, not knowledge by itself. A lot of you know a lot of stuff. There's a bunch of you come every Saturday. I've been seeing you since the dirt, okay? And you have all kinds of information, but you don't do crap, okay? There's a bunch of you like that. And then there's some of you that don't know a bunch, but you work like crazy and you get results. So really, applied knowledge applied is really power. I know a lot of smart people that don't do anything. And I know a lot of people that are, as a matter of fact, my top 4 most successful people, Rick Susie, who's going to make this year probably $1.6 million or $1.7 million this year in income, personal income. Mark and Sue Younger probably make $1.4 million, $1.5 million. And Chris Howard, who's probably going to make about $1.2 million this year. Not one of them went to college. All just graduated from high school. Okay, so that just tells you how important college is. Although I think college is important. It's not the most important. It's what you do that's important. It's what you do. So don't think, if I'm not college educated, I can't. Of course you can. My most successful people are all millionaires, and they didn't even go to college. So don't think education is everything. It's important, but what you do is the most important thing, by far. Okay, now it's not even close. What the cash flow quadrant is that there's a quadrant. Within each quadrant there's a letter, E, S, B, I. E is for employee, S is for self-employed, B is for business owner, and I is for investor. And you fit into one of those 4 quadrants. All of us do, okay? Depends where you are, okay? I fit into the B and I. I'm a business owner and I'm an investor. I do both of those things. So all of you are somewhere in that realm. So I got to read you this. This is really great. He says, this book is written for people who want to change their quadrants. Okay, there's a story here. This is a great story. I just want to do this. This book is written for people who are ready to change quadrants. This book is especially for individuals who are currently in the E, employ, and S categories and are contemplating becoming B's or I's. It is for people who are ready to move beyond job security and begin to achieve financial security. Anybody fit into that category here? It is not an easy life's path, but the prize at the end of the journey is worth the journey. It's really true. It's not an easy, because you have to make a lot of changes. You got to start doing things that make you uncomfortable. One of the reasons that very few people ever become successful is because they're always leaning towards comfort versus becoming successful. If you have a stronger desire to be comfortable than to be successful, well, of course, you're never going to be successful, because comfort and success are like oil and water. They don't mix. You're never going to be comfortable and successful. It's just, this doesn't happen, because to be successful requires you to go after people, to talk to people, to prospect, to get yourself out of the comfort zone, to make phone calls to people that you don't know, to go see people in their homes and that sort of thing, okay? Rich Dad told me a simple story when I was 12 years old that has guided me to great wealth and financial freedom. It was Rich Dad's way of explaining the difference between the left side of the cash flow quadrant, E and S, and quadrants, and from the right side, B and I. Okay, so E and S is employee, self-employed. B and I would be business owner and investor. So self-employed is really not that much better than being employed. Okay, being a business owner is different than being self-employed. A lot of you, most of you that have your own PFS business right now are self-employed because you don't have anybody. Okay, I am a business owner because I have a big business. I don't personally have to do everything anymore. Okay, so there's a big difference there. What your goal should be is to be moving towards being a business owner and not self-employed. If you are still doing all the work, you are self-employed, period. If you can recruit and develop and train people to do the work, you are now a business owner. You understand? Do you think Carl Karcher, who owns Carl's Jr.'s, flips hamburgers anymore? No. Okay. Just the same thing like what's his name who started McDonald's? Ray Kroc. Most of you think that Ray Kroc is in the food business, okay? That he sells hamburgers and French fries and Cokes, okay? That's not what he did. Ray Kroc was in the real estate business. He was not his whole business was finding locations, great locations, buying the real estate, and then leasing the property back to the people that became franchisees. Okay, that's what he did. He was not in the hamburger business, and everybody thinks that McDonald's is a hamburger business when in fact it's a real estate business. Did you know that? You probably didn't even know that, right? I mean, that's what it is. It's because people don't realize what business they're truly in. If you're in the financial service business, this business is not about loans and insurance and mutual funds. This is not this business. This business is about developing leadership, developing people to become business owners. That's our business. My business, I haven't been in the sales business for a long time, except I sell people on becoming business owners, but my business is not really sales. My business is developing people, finding leaders, people that could be leaders, and then helping them, coaching them along to become a leader. That's my business. And my business paid me $3 million last year. If I was still selling, I couldn't have made $3 million. You with me? Okay, that doesn't mean you don't have to sell. In the beginning, you have to do that. I'm going to talk to you about how to do that. Okay, he says, this is it. Once upon a time, there was this quaint little village. It was a great place to live, except for one problem. The village had no water unless it rained. To solve this problem once and for all, the village elders decided to put out to bid a contract to have water delivered to the village on a daily basis. 2 people volunteered to take on the task, and the elders awarded the contract to both of them. They felt that a little competition would keep prices low and ensure a backup supply of water. The first of the 2 people who won the contract, Ed, immediately ran out, bought 2 galvanized steel buckets, and began running back and forth along the trail to the lake, which was a mile away. He immediately began making money as he labored morning to dusk, hauling water from the lake with his 2 buckets. He would empty them into a large concrete holding tank in the village had built. Each morning he had to get up before the rest of the village awoke to make sure there was enough water for the village when it wanted it. It was hard work, but he was very happy to be making money and for having one of the 2 exclusive contracts for his business. Can you imagine him every day getting up early in the morning, running with his buckets, filling them up, taking them back, and filling up that thing, right? Picture that in your mind, okay? Instead of buying 2 buckets, it says the second winning contractor, Bill, disappeared for a while. He was not seen for months, which made Ed very happy since he had no competition. Ed was making all the money. Instead of buying 2 buckets to compete with Ed, Bill had written a business plan, created a corporation, found 4 investors, and employed a president to do the work, and returned 6 months later with a construction crew. What did he do? He recruited a bunch of people to help him. That's what he did. See, like most of you are Ed right now. Okay? Bill recruiting all kinds of people to help him. You guys are doing all the work, hauling the water back and forth. Okay. Within a year, his team, do you have a team? Or are you here by yourself? Huh? Do you have a team or are you by yourself? His team had built a large volume stainless steel pipeline which connected the village to the lake. Yesterday, I played golf with this guy. His name's Gene. Gene's like 70-some years old, right? This is a perfect example of why most people aren't successful. I'm playing with Gene, right? I say, Gene, the first 2 holes he makes a 7 and a 7, okay, both par 4s. Okay, I'm going. I say, Gene, how long have you been a member here? He goes, 5 years. I said, Gene, have you ever taken a golf lesson? He goes, no. I said, why not? He goes, I don't know. I said, you're a member for 5 years, you haven't taken a golf lesson? Golf's a difficult game. You have to take lessons. He goes, yeah, I've been thinking about it. Why would you spend like $30,000 to join a country club where I pay dues every month and play like crap and never take a lesson? Huh? That's like, to me, is so foreign, I don't even understand it, right? But a lot of you do that. I recommend books to read. That's like, this is a lesson right here. Do you do it? No. Just keep showing up, hoping somehow through osmosis, right? It'll happen to you. Okay, within a year, the team had built a large volume stainless steel pipeline which connected the village to the lake. At the grand opening celebration, Bill announced that his water was cleaner than Ed's water. Bill knew that there had been complaints about dirt in Ed's water. Bill also announced that he could supply the village with water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Ed could only deliver water on the weekends. See, if it's only you, there's only so much time you could invest. See, but if you have an army, you could be working round the clock because it's you multiply times the number of people you have. You with me? Like, that's how if I take off for a week or 2, it doesn't matter because I have people working all over the place and I override all that production. You with me? Like in the month of April, I was gone either out of the country or out of state for 24 days in the month of April and made $250,000 that month. How did I do that? Because I built a team. You see? You want freedom? You have to build a team. If you want to have a real life, you got to build a team. You can't do it by yourself. Only bozos work by themselves. Okay? You have to work forever, because if you get sick, you don't have any. You can't make money. You understand that? If you're like, that's the problem with being a doctor and attorney. If you're sick, you don't work. You still have a staff. You got to pay them every month, right? And no income's coming in. See, but if you're a doctor that owns a clinic that employs 10 or 20 or 30 doctors and you take off, it don't matter. You still make money. You with me? If you're an attorney that has a firm that has 20 or 30 or 100, hey, my attorney my attorney worked for a firm that had like 300 attorneys. Okay? Well, the owners, the partners of that firm, they're in good shape, right? They have all these guys do the work and they get all the credit for everything. That's how that thing works. Just like I do. I get all the credit, right? Everyone else does all the work. Now, you might think, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. No, you got to think, you need to be me. You need to do what I did. You have the ability to do that. You right? You understand? You have the ability to go build it. No one's stopping you from going to recruit 100 or 200 or 1,000 people. Nothing's stopping you to build a sales force except yourself. He says, Ed could only deliver water on the weekdays. He did not work on the weekends. Then Bill announced that he would charge 75% less than Ed did for his higher quality and more reliable source of water. The village cheered and ran immediately for the faucet at the end of Bill's pipeline. In order to compete, Ed immediately lowered his rates by 75%, bought 2 more buckets, and added covers to his buckets and began hauling 4 buckets each trip. In order to provide better service, he hired his 2 sons to give him a hand for the night shift and on weekends. Then his boys went off to college, and he said to them, "Hurry back, because someday this business will belong to you." Would you like to give your current business to your family right now? For some reason, after college, his 2 sons never returned. Eventually, Ed had employees and union problems. The union was demanding higher wages, better benefits, and wanted its members to haul only 1 bucket at a time. Bill, on the other hand, realized that if this village needed water, then other villages must need water too. He rewrote his business plan and went off to sell his high-speed, high-volume, low-cost, clean water delivery system to villages throughout the world. Did I tell you that we're now expanding into Germany, Spain, and Japan? Did I mention that to you guys? They're starting this year. That's what we're expanding into. You know who's going to get to go into those countries? Yeah, you're going to have to be selected. If you haven't already proven that you can build a team, you ain't going to those countries. There's going to be chosen to go there. I wonder if I'll have a shot at that. Okay. He rewrote his business plan regardless of if he works or not. Wait, this is it, right? I missed this. He only makes a penny per bucket of water delivered, but he delivers billions of buckets of water every day. See, I don't hardly make any money per transaction, but there's so many transactions. Do you see what I'm saying? Like if you see what people that don't think, they go, well, if I write the sale, I make, like I'm a contractor. A lot of people come to our business, they look at other businesses, they said, well, if I went to this company, I could get a higher contract and I could make, so much more per transaction. Because they look at the way our thing's broken up, because we have an override system, right? Sure, you could go make more money per transaction if you want to be a personal producer. There's no problem with that. That's absolute truth. But if you want to build a business, Primerica is the only place to go. You're stupid to work anywhere else. Go work for another corporation, like any other company, any other financial service company, you're dumb because you can't build a business. You can only personally sell. And there's a cap on how much work you can personally do, right? There's only so much time in a day, there's only so much you can do. I'd rather have a little bit of a ton than me personally be making sales for the rest of my life. You with me? Does that make any sense to any of you here? Okay. He says, he only makes a penny per bucket of water delivered, but he delivers billions of buckets of water every day. Regardless if he works or not, billions of people consume billions of buckets of water, and all that money pours into his bank account. Bill has developed a pipeline to deliver money to himself as well as water to the villages. Bill lived happy. That's what you got to think about. As you're recruiting, and what you're doing is developing a pipeline to bring money to you as well as deliver financial services to the public. See, it's two things. Instead of you selling, because one of the common things I hear, I've made this sale, I made that. You know what I don't hear? I've got 10 recruiting appointments this week. I've got this many people come to the meeting Tuesday night. I don't hear that from you guys. I hear sales, but I don't hear about building a business. And you guys are missing the boat completely. Because you're probably thinking, well, I don't know what to do with them if I get them. Get them in. If they have a half a clue, they'll figure it out. Okay? If they have any clue at all, they'll figure out that's the way you build a business, is recruiting people. That's how you do it. See, the problem is, when I first got into PFS, I used to be in the sales business. I managed a jewelry store. I had 5 or 6 salespeople that worked for me. And I used to recruit salespeople to sell, and I overrode that business, and I thought that's how you did it. And then when I saw PFS, I said, oh my God, I could have 1,000 people. I could be all over the country. I could have tons of volume coming in everywhere. I saw PFS as a way to build a big old distribution firm, right, and be able to make unlimited amounts of income. I mean, totally unlimited. I used to make $50,000 a year working in the jewelry business, which I thought was a good job. Some of you would like to make $50,000 a year probably, right? I was making $50,000 a year in 1983 and 84. Thought it was a good job. And now, because I built a sales force, I make $50,000 every 4 days or 5 days, every 6 days or something like that. I used to work a whole year, 5 to 6 days a week, work 50 hours plus a week to make $50,000 a whole year, right? I was from Thanksgiving to Christmas, I didn't have a day off, and I thought I had a good job. And then I found if I recruited people and built a sales force, I could have freedom. Is anybody with me on that? Anybody have a clue about that? Huh? See, don't worry about how good you are. Worry about showing them the business opportunity. Now, how good you are is irrelevant, okay? I've seen people that don't have any kind of clue at all recruit great people because they got them to see the business, and people go, that's an awesome business, I want in. Okay? So don't you worry about how good you are. How good you are is irrelevant because the business is good enough. You don't need to be great. And then you work on getting better. Okay? It says, Bill lived happily ever after. Ed worked hard for the rest of his life and had financial problems forever after. The end. Right? If you're self-employed, you are going to work till the day you die unless you become a great saver. If you have a job, you're going to work till forever. Okay. Hey, how many of you have examples of parents who worked till they couldn't work anymore? Okay. That's what you want to follow? That thing? You don't want to follow that. That's no good. Okay. Business owners are the only way to go. That story about Bill and Ed has guided me for years. It has assisted me in my life's decision-making process. I often ask myself, am I building a pipeline or hauling buckets? Well, that's you should write that down. Am I building a pipeline or am I hauling buckets? What are you doing, Martin? You building a pipeline or are you hauling buckets right now? How about you, Dave Simpkins? What are you doing? Huh? Am I working hard or am I working smart? And the answers to those questions have made me financially free, and that is what this book is about what it takes to become a B and an I, a business owner and an investor. It is for people who are tired of hauling buckets and are ready to build pipelines for cash to flow into their pockets, not out of their pockets. That's just the very beginning of the book. If that doesn't excite you, then you're in the wrong room. You really are, because you don't have a clue. And you're just going to keep working hard for the rest of your life, right? You don't want to do that. There's no future in that. One of the things that I do constantly, and if you notice, I'm always reading. Every time I come up, I have a new book I'm reading. Have you noticed that? Anybody ever noticed that? Get a clue on that? What does that tell you you should do? It's what you should be doing too. Okay? I've been doing this since day one. I'm completely financially independent right now. I've got net worth that's approaching $40 million, and I don't need to do this anymore. I just don't. But I like doing it. You notice I have fun when I'm doing this. For me, this is fun because I don't care if you do it or not. It doesn't matter to me anymore. I'm just looking for somebody that has a clue and then has half a brain in their head that says, yeah, I want to do it. Okay, and I'll teach you how to do it. Okay, so that's all I'm looking for. Whether you do it or not, doesn't matter to me anymore. Okay, that's the best place you could be in your life. Because what happens is your business just keeps on growing. When you don't care anymore, it just keeps growing. I don't know why that is, but it does. And you say, well, I don't like your attitude. Well, go somewhere else then, where you like their attitude better. They can teach you how to become successful. Or stay here and let me help you become successful. Either way, it doesn't matter. Okay? It's up to you. But I study successful people. That's one of the things I've been doing for 20 years. I am always looking at what do successful people do, because that leaves clues. If you follow what successful people do, you end up becoming successful. It's really that simple. Some of you think it's more complicated than that, but in fact it is not. I didn't learn all... where do you think I learned how to become successful? From my family? Not a chance, okay? No way. I am a weirdo in my family. I am the black sheep of my family. Ask Rob. Rob, am I the weirdo in my family? I am the total black sheep weirdo. I am. In other words, I mean, they like me, okay, but I don't fit in all that well, because I just think differently. Okay, I love my family, but I love being the weirdo in my family. I really do. It's the best thing. If you have a super successful family, then you want to be exactly like them, okay? If you don't, then you might want to be the weirdo in your family. You with me? Don't be afraid to be the weirdo. They'll love you when you become the weirdo. My family loved me after last week. They love me, okay? Took them all to the Bahamas for a week, right? We had a ball and all that. I paid for everything, right? They love that I'm a weirdo right now. But when I was trying to become a weirdo, they were always complaining, Hector, all you think about is money. Hector, all you think about is your business. All you do is work. Blah, 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 blah. You're always working. Because I'd miss all the I'm a Mexican Catholic family. There's a birthday every weekend. There's a wedding every weekend. There's a party every weekend. There's a barbecue every weekend, right? And Hector's always working. He's always at an appointment. He's always at a meeting. He's always doing something, right? So they were bitching and complaining about me for years. Honestly, I'm not making that up. They were always mad at me. Now, Hector never works. He's always traveling. He's always... Now they don't like me because I don't work anymore, right? So the point of that is, you can't ever make them happy, so why try? Why worry about it, right? Why don't you make yourself happy? Why don't you make it happen for yourself? Okay? Think I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. This weekend you're going to be with your family, and they're going to be, you're going to hear all those things. Watch. Anybody know who Warren Buffett is? One of the most successful investors in the history of man. Let me just tell you who Warren Buffett is. He owns a company called Berkshire Hathaway. Actually, he runs the company. It's a public company, but he's a major shareholder of that company. He started money management, like a mutual fund, back in... what year is that? It was quite a while ago. The bottom line is this. When he started it, the figures, if Buffett had a business card, it would identify him as the chairman and chief executive of Berkshire Hathaway, Inc., but he is far better known, indeed, world famous as the greatest stock market investor of modern times. The figures, though often cited, still astound. Had you put $10,000 into Berkshire when Buffett bought control of it in 1965, okay, how many years is that? 34 years. 34 years. $10,000, one time only, never put another penny into the account. 10,000, 35 years ago. You would have $51 million now. Is that better than real estate? Just a little bit. Now versus just $497,431 if the money were invested in the Standard & Poor's 500 stock index. That's not bad by itself. If you would have put 10 grand and just in an S&P, an index fund, you would have 500 grand roughly. Okay. If you would have put it in his, you would have 51 million. Is professional money management important? Should you be putting your clients into professionally managed funds? Should you personally be investing in professionally managed funds? Should you be working hard to make more money so you can put more money in professionally managed funds? Absolutely. What are you doing right now? Oh, I haven't gotten around to get my securities license. It's just, I don't know. Hey, get busy, get your securities license, and start helping people invest money. Don't take no for an answer. You hurt people when you don't put them in mutual funds. Do you understand that? Every time you don't get somebody in a fund, you are kicking them in the teeth. In essence, Buffett continues to prefer today's sure thing to the next big thing. No matter how spectacular its potential, forget internet stocks, Buffett still will not invest in even such well-seasoned high-tech companies as Microsoft Corp or Hewlett-Packard because he doesn't believe that anyone can predict how much they will earn for the next decade or two. And I can't do it myself, he says, and if I don't know, I don't invest. It's a very, very, very good clue right there. If you don't understand the investment, you shouldn't invest. There's a lot of people right now investing in these internet stocks, hoping they're going to hit a home run. They don't know anything about these companies, and they're losing their shirts. Every now and then, because someone hits the lottery, they think they're going to hit the lottery. That's a really dumb way to invest. Okay? That's a big clue right there. For all his offhand charm, Buffett is pretty much all business all the time. Aside from an addiction to luxury air travel, he is a man of simple taste and frugal habits. He neither spends his money nor gives much of it away. Philanthropy, the renaissance vogue of America's super rich, interests him peripherally at most. Although his plan is to not give his money away while he's alive. His plan is to give all his money away when he dies. So don't get the idea that he's this like money grubbing guy, because he's not. The reason he doesn't do that is because he manages that money in that mutual fund. That's where all his money's at. And so for him to give it away now would hurt the fund. That's the reason he doesn't give that money away. But he plans on giving all but about 5% of it away, 5% to his kids, and then 95% away. So when he dies, he's going to leave a huge legacy to he's going to be the biggest endowment in history, all right? Because he's worth like $40 billion or something like that right now. He says, this is important. This is another clue. See, I like to read this stuff because it goes, okay, what do successful people do? Buffett survived a demanding regimen of mid-morning coffees, 2-hour luncheons, 90-minute press conferences, 4-course banquets. I never got tired, he told reporters in London, except for my voice. Actually, Buffett was ashen with fatigue midway through the third day, but soldiered gamely on, answering even the lamest questions with the same expansiveness and wit the fifth time he heard them as he did the first. It's a big clue. Big, big clue. How are you on your 5th appointment versus your 1st appointment? How are you in your 5th recruiting appointment versus your 5th one? How are you? You getting tired? You get lazy? That's one of the reasons he's so successful. Even though he's dead tired, he never stops being a professional. Ever. Big clue. Hopefully I'm making some sense to you guys here, because as I read that, I get really excited, okay, when I read stuff like that, because it gives me a clue on what I should be doing. What, in Buffett's view, makes a business wonderful? It starts with a sustainable competitive advantage. Underline sustainable. Buffett will not invest in a business unless he feels reasonably certain how much it will earn over the next 20 to 25 years. That's really good, huh? By the way, if you want to buy a share in Berkshire Hathaway, they're trading at about $70,000 a share. It's a mutual fund that each share is over $70,000 right now. So if you want to buy one share of Berkshire Hathaway, that's what it trades at, 70 grand, because they don't like reduce them and stuff. That's what it is now. Okay. In Buffett's view, the quality of a company's management is integral to the value of his business. And when acquiring companies, Buffett is concerned with the motives of the selling CEOs as with their abilities. What I must understand is why anyone will continue to get out of bed in the morning once they have all the money they could want, Buffett says. Do they love the business or do they love the money? Take 20 people you know quite well, but Warren has just met them casually. Welch says, if you ask Warren his opinion about them, he'll have each one nailed. He's a masterful evaluator of people, and that's the biggest job in running a company. It's also your biggest job. As you're recruiting people, you need to be really good at figuring out who has the potential. The better job, because you might have 100 recruits come in, but every one of those 100 aren't going to be great. There's going to be maybe 10 that you really need to identify and say, these are the people I need to work with. As you're building your business, how I decide to work with people is I look at their work ethic. I look at their commitment. I look at their dedication. I look at their willingness to sacrifice. I look at their coachability. If I see those attributes, then I'll work with that person. If I don't see them, I'll just be friendly. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. How's your family? Great. See ya. And I'll be nice to you, but I'm never going to work with you. If I see you're totally dedicated, I'm going to work with you, because I know if you're not dedicated, you'll never do anything anyways. It's impossible for somebody to be successful at something without total dedication. I mean, think of this. If you had a doctor, would you want him to be totally dedicated or partially dedicated? Totally dedicated, right? You don't want to work with a doctor that's partially dedicated. You don't want to work with anybody that's partially dedicated. See, that's why some of you have a hard time recruiting, because your dedication level, your willingness to sacrifice, your focus is not what it needs to be. So people look at that, they go, this person doesn't show up to every meeting. They show up every third meeting. They don't get anything done. They see that, so then they go, I'm not hooking up with that person. I can't trust them. What if I commit to them and they don't show up? You know what I'm saying? See, you need to watch. What are you doing? What are you exhibiting personally? Anyways, that's enough of that. Okay, this is what I was going to talk about. Another great book here. Passion, Profit, Power. You might think I'm crazy, but I am working so hard right now on myself. I'm working harder on myself right now than I've ever worked since I've been in business. I am reading more. I'm trying to get better. My focus is that by the time I'm 50 that I'll have this thing figured out and I'll know what I'm really doing. That's my goal. And you think I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. Because I don't think I have it figured out yet. I think I have so much room for growth, it's ridiculous. And that's one of the problems that most of you have, because you start having a little success and you stop working on yourself, and that's the kiss of death when you stop working on yourself. Watch professional athletes, when they stop, their dedication level drops, right? All of a sudden they start getting killed, okay? Same thing with actors and all that. So they stop their dedication, they stop working on getting better, they get killed. They stop getting parts, they get out of favor. I mean, that's the key. The great ones never stop getting better, like a Al Pacino or De Niro or a Michael Jordan or Mark McGuire, who's had tons of success, or somebody like that. These people always are trying to get better. That's the one common characteristic of successful people. They have a dedication to get better all the time. They just never let up on that. And what happens, what that does for you, is it subconsciously you start thinking you're deserved of being successful. That's what happens. And when you don't work on yourself and you start having success, you subconsciously sabotage yourself. That's what happens. I see it happen all the time to people. That's why your level of dedication, your work ethic, your willingness to sacrifice is so important, because it sends a message to your subconscious that you're deserved of success. That's why it's so important that you work hard, Martin, because if you don't, your mind will tell you don't deserve to be successful, and you'll do something without even realizing to screw up your business. I see it happening all the time. That's why I'm so focused on that, because I am afraid of getting that feeling. I don't ever want to do that. I want to feel like I deserve to do well. See, that's why it's important. It's totally because our minds run our life, right? The way we think runs our life. And if you're not thinking right, you get killed. You watch people. You watch people that keep making bad choices. They keep having problems in their lives. If you have like cousins or brothers or something like that, and they keep making these stupid choices and they keep having problems, right? You don't want to do that. Okay. The key, I'm going to talk about closing, because closing is everything. Closing transactions, closing recruits, closing on people coming to the meeting, closing on people to go to fast start schools, closing. Everything about our business revolves around your ability to get people to say yes. If you can get people to say yes to you, then there's no limit to what you can accomplish, okay? If you can't get people to say yes, you're going to always struggle. All right, and this holds true in your whole life, okay? Every part of your life. First key, you got to get people to like and trust you. If you can't get people to like and trust you, you're going to struggle. All right? It's very critical. One of the most important things when I first meet somebody, my number one goal, when I met Gene, the golfer I golf with, what I did the first 5 or 6 holes is I made him feel special. I helped him a little bit, and I just was talking about his family. You have kids, that's great. You know, how long have you been in your business? Oh, wow, your whole life, that's fabulous. I bet you your business is incredible now. You know, what do you like about it? I was just asking him questions. You know, what do you do for hobbies? What do you like to do? Where do you live? Live in Corona Del Mar. How long have you lived there? For 20 years. Don't you love living in the beach area? Where's your office? Irvine. Oh, that's a great location. That's fantastic. Incredible business. I'm like making him feel special. I didn't talk one bit about myself. Not even a little bit. Everything was about Gene. About the 5th hole, Gene is in love with me. I'm telling you. I'm not kidding you. He was like, whoa, what a nice young man this guy. I mean, he's like, loves me. That was no accident. No accident. I made that happen. By the end, and he gave me a great handshake and said, well, I'd love to play with you again, and blah, blah. He's like it's all effusive at the end, right? Hey, that's how you need to be with everybody. You make them feel special. You ask them questions about themselves. You try to get to know them. Find out what's important to them. Forget about you in the beginning. Forget about you. You're not important right now. They're important. Because if they don't like you and trust you, you have no chance of doing anything with them. Zero. Zero. It's your only hope. You understand? And if you're talking all the time, you're talking about yourself, forget it. You need to be asking them questions. The key to getting people to like you is asking questions about them. When was the last time you met somebody and they asked you, hey, well, how long have you been married? Oh, where do you live? Oh, that's great. Do you have any kids? Oh, wonderful. How old are they? Oh, that's awesome. Hey, you know, do you like the schools they go? When they ask you, what do you do for a living? Oh, well, that's interesting. How did you get that job? When was the last time somebody asked you, talked to you like that? Like never, right? Like never. Because no one gives a crap about anybody. Right? Start caring. Start giving a crap. Start asking. Start being really, sincerely interested. I have learned so much from people about different things, just asking questions. Oh, really? When you were in the Navy SEALs? That's incredible. How did you decide to do that? What? God, that's an incredible accomplishment. There's so few people that ever done that in their life. You know, what prompted you to do that? That must have been challenging. How did you stay with it? I mean, I would be asking you, making you feel great about that decision. How awesome that is. That's what I would do. That's my immediate thing I do when I walk into somebody's house. Hey, hi, Lynn. Oh, Renee, what a lovely home you have right here. How long have you guys lived here? My gosh, you've done a great job here. That's fantastic. And, you know, your kids, what are they doing now? Oh, one just got married. Oh, that's awesome. Are you happy with the in-law, the son-in-law? Oh, that's good. That's great. And I would be, I would just be asking questions. What do you like to do? Maybe I see a basketball trophy on the wall. Did you play basketball? So did I. Where'd you play at? Oh, that's awesome. What position? You were a guard probably, right? Were you shooting guard or point guard? Point guard. Oh, so was I. That's incredible. And I'd finding common ground. You with me? I wouldn't go, well, here I am. Let's sit down. Let me show you what we can do. No. Get to know people. Be their friend. Sincerely, though. Really be interested. Don't ask a question and not pay attention. Ask a question, and pay attention. Like they were the only person on earth. Like this was the most valuable information you're ever going to hear in your entire life. Because people know the difference when you're paying attention or not. And if you're not, they don't like you. And if you are, they think you're awesome. Okay? Find common ground. One thing that's really important. I always look for common ground. Always look for common ground. Whatever that might be. If I'm in their home, like if the basketball thing, or if I'm in, somewhere else, as I talk to Martin, and I meet Martin and Denise, and I say, hey, yeah, where'd you guys grow up? And he tells me, oh, and your dad, where's your parents from? Oh, my dad's from Mexico too. What part of Mexico? Oh, blah, blah, blah. I'd be whatever. I'm always looking to try to find some kind of common ground where we have the same interests or something, because if you have common ground, people automatically feel more comfortable with you. So whatever that is, that's one of the reasons I read so much. The first thing I do when I get up, I get my USA Today, my LA Times, and I don't read everything covered, but I peruse everything, things that are interested to me. I take a look at them. The reason I do that, because he might be involved in something that I just read about in the last month, and I can go, hey, yeah, I just read about your company. I heard that they were doing this or that, and blah, 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 blah. He goes, yeah, that's right. How's that going? And all of a sudden, I know something about him. We have some common ground. All of a sudden, my esteem in his eyes goes up. You with me? He likes me better. Read. Stop watching TV. TV is the death of you. Unless you're watching something on TV that'll help you grow, TV is nasty for you. Radio is nasty. Your car should be a classroom. It shouldn't be to listen to music. Right now, if you're dedicated to being successful, if you're listening to music, you're making a major mistake with your life in business. Stop listening to music. Hey, when I got involved in the business, the first 5 or 6 years, I never listened to music. I had a Tom Hopkins tape, a Art Williams tape, a Zig Ziglar tape, calling it Nightingale, Earl Nightingale. I had some kind of tape, that it could help me with my thinking or my business. I never listened to the radio. Well, that's pretty severe. I don't know. I'm rich now. What do you think? Huh? What do you think? You do it your way. Do it this way. Which one? Choose. See, any kind of big success requires dedication, guys. Dedication. Willingness to sacrifice. If you don't have that, no chance for you. Just going to be like every other schmo out there. Okay? Master asking questions. If you're telling people... Listen, you got to master asking questions, because if you tell them, they think you're lying. If you ask them and they say it, it's true. That's why telling people doesn't work. And that's what rookies do all the time. They're telling, oh, did you know this is for Citigroup? We're part of Citigroup. Did you know that this? Did you know that? Did you know this? Instead, you're telling all this stuff instead of saying, hey, listen, are you happy with the investments you have? Are you excited about the insurance premiums you're paying? Do you have a plan to get financially independent? Are you on your way to getting there? What are you doing to make that happen? Asking questions is the key, not telling people. If you ever see me deal with people, when I first meet somebody, I don't talk hardly at all. I'm asking lots of questions. Questions, 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 questions. The most important thing for you to learn how to do is how to ask good questions, okay? Questions, by the way, that you essentially already know the answer to. Questions that lead to yes momentum, okay? Overcome all objections in the body of the presentation. Okay, so your presentation, whether it's a recruiting presentation or a F&A presentation, should essentially overcome every objection during the presentation. So you bring them up, like, if I'm talking to Martin, I say, Martin, I'm going to be working to put together a plan for you. If I can put together a plan that helps you solve all of your concerns in terms of retirement and insurance and all that sort of thing, is there any reason why you wouldn't go ahead and implement the program? No. Okay, fantastic. So I'm looking for stuff, right? If we found that you had a cash value policy that we found that you were paying more than you needed to for the insurance, and that your rate of return was pitifully low, and we could move you into a lower cost insurance program and put the difference in a mutual fund that could get you potentially a much better rate of return, is there any reason why you wouldn't implement that? No. Fantastic. So now I see I've overcome, and what I'm doing is throughout the thing, I'm going to be asking questions in my presentation that you already know. If you do this any length of time, what are the objections that come up? You all know them. They're the same ones. So they should be all met within the body of that presentation. You should be analyzing your presentation. Am I overcoming every objection in that presentation? Because at the end of the presentation, you shouldn't go, what do you think? It should be, okay, let's go ahead and implement the plan. Let's figure out what we need to do to get your plan together. That's how it should be, so natural that you shouldn't be fighting with them. See, if you're having lots of times where you're at the end of the presentation, people are not going ahead, you are not overcoming the areas of concern throughout the body of the presentation. You're not doing that. Because it should be so fluid and so natural, you should be going ahead every time. Every time, if it makes sense, okay? Ask yes questions, get momentum swinging your way. Questions like, if I could help you, Lynn, put together a plan that makes sure that you retire exactly how you want to retire, and that we're able to help fund your children's college education, and that we're able to reduce your debt, can you think of any reason why you wouldn't go ahead? Fantastic. That no is actually a yes. All right? So we're getting yes momentum. I'm asking questions all the time. If my business opportunity could help you accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish, would you take a seriously close look at that before you make any kind of decision? Yes. Okay. If we have a meeting on Tuesday nights, that meeting answers all the questions that you might have concerning our business. I'd like you to come to that thing. Is there any reason why you couldn't at least come and explore that? Fantastic. Asking questions like that, always asking questions, get yes momentum going your way. That's what you should be doing. That's why telling's no good. When you're telling, you're not finding anything out. You're just repeating stuff you already know. When you're asking, you're going to get information that'll help you move in the direction you need to move in. Okay?
How would you handle objection when you're recruiting somebody that's good? So let's say they were in Amway and they have talked to all their friends. And they don't want to talk to them anymore.
The reason you don't want to talk to your friends anymore is because Amway didn't work. Is that correct? Because if it would have worked, they'd be all in Amway right now, wouldn't they? So if we can show them that this actually works and that they could actually do well here versus how they were doing it at Amway, right, you would want to at least give them the opportunity to find out, right? Okay. Let's go see them. That's how I would do it. Ask questions you already know the answer. You must know more closes than they know objections. That simple, right? If they have 5 objections, you have to have 6 closes. Okay? Just got to know more than they, because people have, they're the same 5 to 10 basic common things that come up all the time. Once you got them down, once you have them down, it's done. You're going to do well. That's all there is to it. Use tie downs throughout. Like I said, if this makes sense for you, Martin, will you go ahead and take advantage of it? Right? You'd want to make more money than you're currently making, wouldn't you?
Sure.
Yeah? You tie down, okay? Tie people down all the time. If they would do it, this is a big key. This is how I rationalize being assertive, proactive, persistent, because a lot of you are not assertive, you're not proactive, and you're not persistent. And the reason you're not is because you're more concerned about what they think about you than really helping them. That's your main concern. How do they perceive me? Not whether I can help them or not, but how do they perceive me? And that is something probably that our parents hand down to us, okay? Your parents are really concerned. Anybody have parents that they're really concerned about what everybody thinks? Okay? Well, they pass that trait on to you, okay? And my parents did the same thing, but thank God I got like shock therapy to get rid of that, okay? Because I would be dead right now financially if I would have still thinking like that, right? I just don't care anymore because I found out it doesn't matter. Right? If your intentions are honorable, it doesn't really matter what people think about you. Right? This is the key. If your client or recruit would be better off with your product or service than without it, then you have a moral obligation to get them happily involved or you hurt them. How many of you have sat down with a client that they would have been infinitely better off had they gone along with what you have to offer them, but you didn't close them? Shame on you. You hurt them because you cared more about yourself than you cared about them. And they for you it doesn't make a big difference, but for them it could cost them 10, 20, 50, 100, 200,000, $1 million in their lifetime. You end up hurting them. See, you need to treat every client like they're your brother or your sister, your mother, your father. See, if my brother or sister were doing the wrong thing, I would not let him or her, right, brother or sister, I wouldn't let them say no to me. I just wouldn't. I would find a way to get them to understand why they need to get involved. And see, a lot of you are looking at me like, yeah, I know I should do that, but I just can't get myself to do it because I'm a weenie. And all right? Aren't you tired of being a weenie? Huh? Aren't you tired of being a weenie your whole life? You want everybody to like you, so people like you and no one respects you. I like everybody in here. I don't respect a lot of you. I like you. There's not a person in here I don't like. There's a bunch of you I don't respect very much. That's sad. I want to respect you, but you know what? Your actions don't allow me to, because you're weenies right now. And you don't like me saying that, but it's the absolute truth. That's why I'm so hard on my kids. I will not let them be weenies. There's no way they're being weenies. No chance. Sometimes they don't like me. I push them. I say, you got to, and now I don't have to do it so much because when they were little, like my son used to hate to go ask for stuff, oh, I don't want to go ask. Get your ass and go ask him right now. And then I got him to do it. And then now he doesn't have any problem doing it. But he didn't want to do it when he was little. And I made him do it. And I made him confront the fear. And now, no problem. Hey, call this guy. Okay, done. Right? See? And now guess what? He feels better about him now. And I was the bad guy for a little while, but I'm not the bad guy anymore. Some of you don't like me right now because I said that. But guess what? Prove me wrong. Make me respect you. I respect Rick Susie. I respect Mark and Sue Younger. I respect Chris Howard and Gary McCrumman. I respect those people. You know why? Because they did it even though they didn't feel like doing it, and they did it even though they were afraid. And some of you ain't doing it because you're afraid. And you know what? I don't respect that. So you'll quit. Okay, I'll respect even less. Someone always buys. You don't. You buy their objections, or they buy your rationale. If you buy too often, they get hurt, and you go broke, and you wash out of the business. That's how it works. Let me repeat that. You buy their objections. Someone always buys. You buy their objections, or they buy your rationale. If you buy too often, they get hurt, you go broke, and wash out of the business. That's what happens, right? When you go see somebody, either you close them on why they should do it, or they close you on why they shouldn't, right? And if they close you, then you hurt them, and you go broke, and eventually you wash out of the business. Because what if I'm persistent? They're going to think I'm pushy, and they're going to think I'm just trying to make money. And my God, if they think that, I'm going to turn to ashes. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. The only thing that will prevent you from becoming hugely successful and a multimillionaire in PFS is your lack of dedication, willingness to sacrifice, your work ethic, focus, and not learning how to overcome all of the most common objections and areas of concerns clients and potential recruits have. If you could learn how to get 70 to 90% of the people to say yes, and you can do that, because I did that, and you'll do it consistently, PFS is basically a money machine. It's just a money machine. It's a cash cow. It really is. Think about it. It's almost comical. You go out, you see people, you close business, you make a bunch of... Hey, look, Robert, a month ago or something, you just saw a bunch of people, you made a bunch of sales, you make 10 grand, you didn't even work that hard, huh? Did you kill yourself? Yeah, were you like so exhausted you had to go in the hospital for therapy? No. You made a bunch of money, right? If you did that every month, you do it every month. Right? It's fun. It's a fun business. And it's doable. It's totally doable. Okay. Now what we're going to do is now I asked you to come up with objections and questions and stuff like that. Let's start doing that. And let's start role-playing those because I want to show you how to do it. Now pay attention as I do this, how I ask the question. It's very important, okay? Your tonality. Tonality is very important. How you ask the question. Okay, pay attention to that. It's not just asking the question, it's how, because it's like if you say, honey, I love you. Or if you say, honey, I love you. It's exactly the same words, means two entirely different things, right? Hey, you're in the way. You're in the way. See what I'm saying? Tonality is very critical. How you say things. So critical, okay? You need to be very careful about the way you say things. Because the way you say things elicits emotions out of people. Okay? You could say, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Right? Same thing. Right? One is genuine and one is sarcastic. So how do you speak? Most people don't even pay attention to how they speak. You don't. You just talk and you don't even think about the way I'm saying this. What is it eliciting from the person I'm trying to get involved? Huh? What is it eliciting? Because it makes a gigantic difference. gigantic difference. That's why some people you like a lot, because the way they talk to you makes you feel good, and some people it makes you feel like uncomfortable. Somebody that you just feel really comfortable with them, and some people they make you feel inferior or bad or something, right? It's because of the way, it's because their tonality. It's totally their tonality. Okay, that's why it's so critical that you watch your tonality. Okay, questions, objections. Mike, I need you to have the mic here. You're going to come up and right here, and come up here, stand right here. There we go. That way we can. Don't be shy about doing it either, okay? We're taping all this, by the way, so everything's going to be on tape. Everything I went over is on tape. You can listen to it over and over and over again and get the thinking down, all right?
Hi, Hector. How are you doing?
Hey, Feej.
I was prospecting yesterday, actually, at the mall.
Uh-huh.
And I was talking to this lady, and she was trying to get me to sign up for a card.
Sign up for a card? What kind of card?
Credit card.
Credit
I told her, I said, you know what? I help people get out of debt. So I talked about PFS. I told her that, she'll be great. She's bilingual and so forth. And she says she'd been to a meeting a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to get her to come down to our meeting on Tuesday night. She says the only thing that I see is that if I talk to my families and my friends, and if something happens, that I can't do that.
In other words, what you're really concerned about is hurting your family or friends. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that if I could show you, once you see what we do and you're really comfortable with it, and you can see that everything we're going to do is strictly to help them. Matter of fact, one of the rules that we have with our company is that we don't do business with people unless we can dramatically improve their current situation. So one of the fears you have, it really is not necessary. So if I can show you that we're only going to do business with people if we can substantially improve their current situation, and you feel good about it, and the people feel good about it, would you be open to exploring it at that point?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
great. Fantastic.
Okay. Thank you.
See, what did I do again? Ask questions. I didn't tell her anything. See? Because she didn't want to be told something, I asked her a question. If I can show you that we're going to only do business if we can substantially improve their current situation, and you feel comfortable with that, at that point, would you feel comfortable to take a look at it? And what can she say at that point? She has to say yes, because that was her objection. I just overcame it. What's that? Well, of course, I'm going to close for the time. I'm going to say, look, this Tuesday night or whatever. But the main thing is that was what's preventing him from taking a look. Now we got that issue done with. Now we need to go take a look. Or there's another objection. Then we deal with that one and we move that one out of the way, and then we keep moving them away until we get them to say yes. That's that simple. See, that's what's preventing you guys from being more successful. You hear an objection, you go, oh, okay, I'll get back to you, and you leave, right? If you knew how to overcome it, you could overcome it, and then you'd get to the real thing, and finally they say, okay, I'll look at it, and then you look at it, right? That doesn't mean they're going to get in, but at least you get them to look at it, right? I'm not concerned whether they get in or not right now. I'm concerned that they look at it, okay? See, one of the things that's really important with setting an appointment or getting people to look, I don't expect anybody to, I expect them to look. That's all. I'll even tell them, hey, listen, Fiji, right now, all I expect you to do is take a look. I don't expect you to make a decision of any kind because you don't seem like the kind of person that would make a decision unless they had all the facts. Am I correct in assuming that? Yes, okay, so then you will take a look at it before you make the decision. We can do this Tuesday or next Tuesday. Which Tuesday's better for you? Okay, fantastic. I'll pick you up at 6:30. Where should I pick you up at? At home. What's your address? Okay, I'll pop by there at 6:30. I'll be there. Just be ready. Business, the dress is nice casual, right? Boom. That's what I would do. See? Just like that.
I've run across a couple of people who say they don't like to show information to divulge all their financial life to one person.
Okay. And is the reason you don't like to divulge it is you're afraid that somebody's going to get information that shouldn't get it? Is that what you're concerned with?
I don't trust anybody to see all my information, to know where all my money is.
Well, do you have a plan right now?
I have several different people doing different things. I have a tax man, I have an investment person, but I don't want one person to know everything.
Why is that?
Because I don't trust anybody.
What are you afraid they're going to do?
they're going to rip me off.
How?
Well, I've had experience where they have done that. They've known where my money is, and they've ripped me off.
How do they rip you off? I don't understand how they get access to your money unless you allow them to.
Because they had the information and they were able to take it and do something.
But
bad.
how would somebody take your money unless you give them access to like your checking account or access to your money?
Well, it's like you're asking me you're asking to be my advisor. Well, I don't know. I don't trust you. In other words,
well,
I don't know. I don't know you from anybody.
You don't know me from Adam, and
That's
I understand that. But the fact is, unless you entrust me with your accounts, if you give me, a power of attorney over your accounts, there's no way I could possibly rip you off. There's no possible way I could take anything from you. I don't, and in the way we do business, we're not going to ask for power of attorney. You're going to write all the checks. You're going to determine where the money goes, when it goes there. You will have complete 100% control over every penny that you invest or you spend in any way, shape, or fashion. So if you are in complete control, then the only person you need to worry about trusting is yourself.
Well, it's just letting people know all my information. It's personal to me. I don't know if I.
Yeah, but I understand that. But
that.
if I can dramatically improve your current situation, if I could help you to retire with significantly more money than you're currently going to retire on, say, $100,000, $200,000, $500, $1 million more, if I could help you to get out of debt 5 to 10 years sooner and save you maybe $50,000 to $100,000 in interest, wouldn't it be prudent at least to investigate that before you say no?
Yeah, I guess that
all
would.
I'm asking you to do is take a look. You don't even have to divulge anything and make a commitment until you see what it is we're going to do. Would you at least be open-minded enough to take a look before you make a decision?
Okay.
Okay, that's all I'm asking. Fabulous. Do you see what I'm saying? What, did I tell her anything? No. I asked her some questions. That's all you need to do, you guys. Just like that. But you need to think of the questions to ask like that.
Is this on?
Go ahead, it's on. Should be on. Check the bottom. On.
Okay.
Hi, Karina Brown.
Hi, Hector Lamarck. I've been trying to recruit someone since March.
Okay.
I brought her to the meeting. She's interested. She really likes it. She really wants to do it. Her husband says no.
Why?
Because she was she was in a business before.
Okay.
And she worked really hard, and she found out after 2 months that she had to sell $25,000 worth of this product.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what it was, to get paid $1,600.
Okay.
And she did that, and she had neighbors and friends, close friends and relatives, giving their whole life savings to buy lotion and all these different things. And then she found out she had to do that every month in order to get paid $1,600.
So it was just way too much work for the amount of income.
Well, he never ever got involved in any of those things. Mm-hmm. And then when he finally, he was like, oh, okay, well, we'll make this money. And he finally got involved, and he was out recruiting and doing all this, and they got burned. And so now he's got a real bad taste in his mouth, and he doesn't even want to hear it.
Okay. So what you've got to do is you got to sit down with him. He had a negative experience. Okay.
Right.
So the question I would ask him if I had an opportunity to sit down with him, I'd say, look, because you had a bad experience in the past with one company, does that mean going forward that you're always going to have a negative experience with other companies that you do business with? Is that what you're kind of getting at?
Yeah, but he wouldn't even sit down with us.
Okay.
We went out to the house to meet with him. He wouldn't even come out of the room.
So she can't get in unless he says it's okay? Is that what it is?
She doesn't want to come in without his support because of the previous instance.
Have you sat down and did an F&A for them and showed them what we've done or do already?
She doesn't want to do that without him.
Well, what I would do, okay, if she wants to get in, I would say, look, you're going to have to do an F&A, and you're going to have to show him what it is, because if you don't show him what it is, then he right now he's making a decision based on bad information or no information. Okay, so in order for him to make an intelligent decision, then he needs to see what it is we do. You don't have to go ahead with anything, but you've got to show him. You've got to let me do an F&A, and then I'll put it all together. All right, I'll show you how it works, and then you can take that F&A with him. I'll show you how to present it, and you can share it with him. And then if he still doesn't like it, that's fine. then you don't need to go forward. But I guarantee you, if he understood what it was that we were actually going to do for you guys, and what it was we do for people, and what the compensation was for doing that, he would have a different view of it. Right now, he is basing his it's like the jilted lover, the guy or the gal that has a relationship. He gets jilted, or she gets jilted in that relationship. Now they don't ever want to have a relationship anymore. That's crazy. So you give up on the potential of having a great life because of one bad experience. That is not the way anybody with any kind of intelligence makes decisions. Okay. So have him take let's sit down, let's do this F&A, let's get it all done. I'll let you present it to him. I won't come over, I won't be involved, and I'll let you just talk to him about your situation, okay?
Okay.
Does that sound fair? That's what I would do. That's your only shot, because if he doesn't see it, he's not going to talk to you, all right? We already know that, okay? And the only way you're going to get it done is if he sees what we do. Because the biggest problem we have is people are you see, you know why you guys don't close people? Is because you don't get people to see what you see. That's why you don't close people. And you don't communicate to them what it is. See, the thing that I always was great at doing... You have any other questions?
Yeah, but I'll give someone else.
No, that's okay. You can take another one. So what happens is that the key thing is that this is a way, the questions you have to ask yourself, okay? I always ask myself, okay, Hector, if you could get them to see it like you see it, what would they do? They'd go ahead, wouldn't they? Okay. So then my challenge becomes to get people to see it like I see it. The better I get at communicating it, right, clearly, what it is, the greater the likelihood I'm going to get them involved in my business or involved in my products. That's the bottom line. So what your challenge has been generally is that you're not clear, or you're not clear to them in the way they understand, so they can say yes and you feel comfortable to say yes. Like right now, the reason he can't go ahead is you can't even get him to see it. So if you can get him to see it, and if he saw it like you saw it, I mean, you're excited, you're in, you're getting involved, you've had some success, you're doing relatively well for the short time you're in the business. If he could see that, then like you see it, if he could see the kind of success and stuff that's going on, right, then he would be excited.
I think if I could get to him, I could talk to him, but can't get...
But the only way you're going to get to him is he doesn't even know what we do right now. He doesn't really know. He has a kind of a... He doesn't really know what we do right now, okay? He has a vague, it's something to do with financial services. But that's far away from knowing what we do. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, it's not even close. Right. So that's what you've got to do. You have to get them to see it. I know if I could sit down with someone, I can get them to see what we do for people, what a difference we make, how incredible it is, and then what the compensation is for doing that for people, for really helping people. If I could sit down with a rational person, I'm going to get them involved. How could I not? See, that you guys don't recruit some people blows my mind. I don't even get it. You cannot be talking to anybody about the business. There's no possible way. Not with any clarity, anyways. Because if you were, you'd be getting some people involved. All right? Is this impossible not to get them involved? Next question. Sorry.
Okay. I have a client. We sat down. We did the F&A. He thought it made sense, but he wanted to look it over. Would you have any objections if I look this over before we go ahead, and we'll set up another appointment to get together?
Yeah.
Afterwards?
No. I first of all, okay, you didn't do a good job on the first appointment, because that wouldn't have happened had you done the right thing initially. If I went to sit down with this guy and I went over the F&A and I went over what was going to happen, I took his information from him, I would have said to him, Bill, I'm going to come back with some solutions. Those solutions are going to improve your current situation. If they improve your current situation substantially, and I can show you that in black and white, are you going to have any challenge with going ahead at that time?
No.
Okay, fantastic. Because if you are, then there's no point, because I'm going to invest, I don't know, maybe as much as 6 hours in putting together a plan and making sure everything is just right for your particular situation. So if I'm going to invest 6 hours of my life into you, all I need from you is a commitment that if it's better for you, that you're going to go ahead. Is that okay with you? Are you good with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yes.
Fabulous. And when I come back, now if he says, I want to just check it over, I'd say, Hey, Bill, remember when I was here initially, I asked you very directly that if I could put together a program that was going to improve your situation, and I've graphically shown you that it's going to do that. You told me, and I assume you're a man of your word, that you were going to implement that program. Now you're telling me you want to look it over. Honestly, I put a lot of work into this. This document is very, very valuable. It's going to make you. It's going to allow you to be out of debt 5 years, 10 years soon. It's going to save you $50,000. We're going to put another additional $500,000 in your retirement account. It's going to do a lot of things for you. If I leave it with you, then you have the opportunity to go shop, and I'm not going to do that, honestly, because I put a lot of work into it, and I know when you work, you expect to be compensated. Am I correct in assuming that, Bill?
Yes.
And so do I. So what I'd tell you what, if you want, you can look at it all you want right now, because these F&As that we put together, Bill, they're for our clients. They're complimentary. These generally, if you were to go to a financial planner or somebody, you might spend as much as $1,500 for this document. So for me to leave it with you and give it to you and not be my client, that's against our company policy, and I'm not going to do that. But if you want to think about it, I have no problem with that. I don't want to press you in any way, shape, or fashion, but I'm not going to leave the F&A with you, okay? So you let me know when you're really ready to go ahead and improve your financial situation. I'd be more than happy to implement that for you. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much. And listen, if you're afraid to do that, what you're saying is, my time's not valuable, I'm a dish rag, slap me around, no problem. You with me? If you don't have the guts to do that, you don't belong here. Because that guy's, what's going to happen, what's most likely going to happen, he ain't going to look at it, he's not going to understand it anyways. If you're not there to explain it, he ain't going to understand it on his own. He has no clue. It's hard enough for you to understand, let alone him understand. He has no training. Right? Okay? So what he's going to do now, he's going to go shop. I'm not going to give him this thing to go shop. He can go shop, but he ain't going to use my F&A. After I put 5 or 6 hours of work in it, no chance. No chance. That's like if you put together, like you're an architect, you put together a plan for somebody, and then you go and you take it to them, and they say, well, that's good, can I keep this for a while? No, you can't keep this for a while. This is mine, I own it, I put all this work into it. If you want it, you're going to have to pay my fee. You with me? That's exactly what it is, okay? I'm not going to give somebody my service for free. My time is valuable. You know, if I invest my own personal time, I expect to be compensated. And when you invest your time in someone, you're supposed to get compensated. Period. Okay? I don't want you leaving F&As with people unless they're your clients. Ever. You do that, it's wrong, okay? Ever, ever, ever. Don't go, oh no, I'll just keep it, I'm going to do it. No, no, no. See, that's the other leverage you have to get them to go ahead, see? That's your only leverage. If you give it to them, then you lose your leverage. You with me? You give them the document, where's your leverage? It's gone. That's the value. And the truth is, that document can cost somebody up to $1,500 for that document. And the financial planners that charge that kind of money, they're not as good as our F&A. Have you ever seen a financial plan for a financial planner? Yeah. They're crap. They don't even do half the things we do. They don't. Right, Lynn? Right. They do not. They don't do all the things we do. If you go to a financial planner, all they do is investment advice, which is not that much. It's easy to get that. They don't show you how to get a debt. They don't show you how to reduce your insurance costs. They don't put together a debt elimination plan. They don't do any of the stuff we do. They only do one small little part of what we do. What we do for a client is so much better than what a financial planner does. It's ridiculous. And you guys, that's valuable. You are valuable. Start looking at yourself as valuable. That's why it's so important that you master the F&A and you get it down, because that's your value today, okay? That's your value. Next question. Heather, you had a question? Okay.
I have a recruit in front of me, and he says, well, this is all great and everything, but you're going to give me the leads? How am I going to get out there? So you're going to provide me with the leads?
No, I'm not going to provide you with the leads. This is how it works, Heather, okay? Who do you know? How long have you lived in the area?
For
which is not that much. It's easy to get that. They don't show you how to get a debt. They don't show you how to reduce your insurance costs. They don't put together a debt elimination plan. They don't do any of the stuff we do. They only do one small little part of what we do. What we do for a client is so much better than what a financial planner does. It's ridiculous. And you guys, that's valuable. You are valuable. Start looking at yourself as valuable. That's why it's so important that you master the F&A and you get it down, because that's your value today, okay? That's your value. Next question. Heather, you had a question? Okay.
I have a recruit in front of me, and he says, well, this is all great and everything, but you're going to give me the leads? How am I going to get out there? So you're going to provide me with the leads?
No, I'm not going to provide you with the leads. This is how it works, Heather, okay? Who do you know? How long have you lived in the area?
For about 20 years.
Okay, so do you know anyone?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have brothers, sisters, relatives, co-workers, friends, acquaintances?
Yes.
Okay, so what we need to do, we put together a list of 25 to 50 people you know. We're going to qualify that list, okay? What we're looking for is people that are 4 or 5 pointers. Let me explain what that means. Married, children, homeowners, kids, job, been in the area 2 years or longer, okay? Those are the kind of people we're looking for. Those people, if we go see them, we're going to do something with them probably 70, 80% of the time. Very high closing ratio with people in the market that are 4 or 5 point people, okay? So you put together that list, and what we're going to do is we're going to qualify the list. We're going to see who we're going to see first. The people you care about most, the people that you want to help the most, we're going to see those 5 to 10 people first. What we're going to do is you're going to call those people, and you're going to say to them, hey, Lynn, this is Hector. How you doing? Listen, I'm getting involved in the financial service business. I'm starting my own business. I'm really excited about it. I need your help. I want you to take a look at it. You don't have to make any commitments. I don't expect you to buy anything unless you see something you like. But right now I'm getting trained, so I need some people that I can sit down with and kind of go over the stuff, and they can share some information. If they see something they like, they can go ahead. If not, absolutely no pressure whatsoever. Would you help me out?
Yes.
Fantastic. And then you go see them. And you go, you do the presentation, you show them how to do it, how to do the F&A presentation and all that. And what's going to happen is if we can improve their situation, we're going to ask them, Lynn, if I can improve your situation and I can do all the things I say I can do, is there any reason why you wouldn't do business with me? And they're going to say, yes, okay. And then we're going to do business with some of those people. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get referrals. If we do business with them and we do a great job, and we're going to do a great job, we're going to get 5 to 10 referrals from those people. And if we see out of the 25 list that you have, we end up seeing 20 of those people, and we end up doing business with 15 of them, say, we're going to get 3 to 5 referrals from 15. Say it's 5, okay? Say it's 3. That's 45 new people we're going to see. You're going to be so busy you're dizzy, okay? Plus, we're going to get a couple of people to get involved in the business. We're going to recruit 2 or 3 or 4 of those people. And if we recruit 2 or 3 or 4, say we recruit 4 of those people. Those 4 people are going to put together a list of 25. That's going to give us 100 new people to go see. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So does that answer your question of how we're going to go see people? Because
Well,
that's really your
as long
question
as
about
you-
leads.
Well, as long as you can be honest with me, and we're not going to bother them. We're just going to go in.
No, we're not going to
You're going to show them the same thing you showed me, because I was happy with what you showed
Let
me.
me ask you a question. Do you feel comfortable about the way I presented myself and how I conducted myself with you?
Yes, I did.
So if I was to conduct myself with them exactly how I conducted myself with you, would you have any problem with that?
No, none at all.
Okay, that's
Okay,
what I'm going
thank
to do. And I give you my word on that. And I give you my word that we're not going to pressure anybody, and we're not going to have anybody do anything that's not in their best interest. Are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
Because I don't want you to be hesitant about taking them to see anybody, because if we see somebody, we're only going to do something if we can truly help them. So don't be shy about taking me to see your brother, your sister, or whatever. And you're going to be there with me, so you're going to be able to police me to make sure I do the right thing.
Okay, great.
Okay?
Great.
You feel comfortable with that?
Yes.
Fabulous. Let's
Okay.
get started. Boom. We're off. Okay? That's how you do it. That's how you get somebody. You have another question?
Okay, yeah. I've met a few people that have been with the business, with PFS.
Before?
Prior, yes.
Okay.
And they tell me, one of them has been around for years, and they're constantly telling me, well, you know, I went there and the upline didn't teach me what I needed to be taught. I spent all this money. I invested in your company. I went to your meetings. You know, I went even to your retreats. I loved the business, but then again, I put all this money into it. I'm afraid if I do it again, because I feel good about you showing me.
Right.
But how do I know for sure you're not going to flake out on me like that other rep did that taught me?
Well, the
business?
truth is you don't know. I mean, the truth is you don't know. But the fact is, you know, I apologize for that happened before. All I can do is I can give you my word. You can come and take a look at our business. And the office I work out of is with Hector Lamarck. I don't know if you know who Hector is. Do you know who I am? I
Yes.
don't know if you know who Hector is, but Hector's got an impeccable reputation in the business. And if you come in that office, you can be certain you're going to get trained. You're going to be certain you're going to get the kind of leadership and commitment from the organization that the best you could possibly get in PFS, period. They got a tremendous staff, and all kinds of support. So you don't need to worry about that. Because if you're serious about becoming successful, even if I flaked or even if I died or something happened to me, that wouldn't preclude you from becoming successful if you chose to, because all the support's there.
Okay.
Would you at least come up and take a closer look and take a look at our operation, the way we do things, before you make a decision?
Well, it's just kind of scary because I did that prior, and I got nothing out of it.
I understand
but
that.
I've heard Hector was, a great coachable
Well, why don't
person,
you come up and take a look at it and check out how we do things before you make a decision? I don't want to pressure you, and I don't want you to make a decision before you take a look at how we do things. But I think once you take a real close look and you see how we do our meetings, what the quality of the training is, and how the quality of the meetings are, and all that sort of thing, I think you're going to be really excited. And I think the fear you have is going to go away.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The main fear is the fact that the other office I was in, they said PFS is this, that. Forget your family.
Well, no,
when
no,
I wanted
no,
to go to a birthday
no.
party for my daughter, I was told by my upline, no, you need to get what you have to get done first. Is Hector's office going to be like that?
Well,
or
I
is it-
apologize for that, because that's ridiculous.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, that's the reason that Hector got in the business, is because his boss at his other job didn't let him go to his son's birthday party. That will absolutely
Well, no,
not
one of
happen.
where I was
In this
at, they
office,
told me that.
okay?
They
Huh?
told me that I have to think of business first, then
they
family.
told you wrong.
And I
Because
disagree with
Let me just tell you, the philosophy in our office is this: God first, family second, business third. Exactly that order. Okay, that's
Right.
the priority here. So
That's
your
what I want.
spiritual life is
Okay.
first, your family is second, and the business is third. Okay, that's the way we operate here.
Then I'll be there on Tuesday. That sounds
Fantastic!
great.
I look forward. You're going to
Okay,
be
thank
excited.
you.
I think when you see what we do, you're going to love it.
Yeah, thank
okay?
you.
Is this helpful? See, it's just how you ask the questions.
Background, client works for Sun America.
Sun America Insurance Company.
Insurance company, makes lots of money, works 24/7,
Okay,
and lives high on the hog.
has no money.
No.
Right.
And the objection we received was, I don't want to do an F&A, I just want to open up a mutual fund for my kids.
Okay. So the question is this: right, you've been working how long now? With Sun America, how long?
3 years, and I'm on call 24/7.
24/7. And you do well financially with them, right?
Yes,
Okay. And how long have you been working, period, in your life?
15 years.
15 years. And what do you think over that 15 years you've earned during that period? Just guess.
Close to $1 million.
Okay. And how much cash do you have right now?
Close to zero.
Okay. All right. So we know, so we know based on the plan that you have in place, it doesn't work, right?
Right.
So the F&A is a plan to make sure that what's happened to you the last 15 years doesn't happen the next 15 years. If you don't put together a plan and you don't follow that plan, you're going to pretty much end up like the last 15. You don't want that to happen, do you?
No.
And with good conscience, because it would be malpractice on my part if I didn't make sure that you did an F&A and implement that F&A. I mean, I would be subject to malpractice, and frankly, I care too much about my clients to allow them to do that. And I know right now you don't understand the value of it, but I cannot do business with you unless we do that F&A, because I can't do all the appropriate things I need to do for you if we don't do that. It's kind of like if I was a doctor and you came to me and you told me, hey, listen, I've got this physical problem, and then you tell me all I want is some Percodan, all right? Could you give me some Percodan? That's what I want. Well, I need to do a checkup and I need to take some tests. Well, no. I just want a Percodan. That's all I need. Give me a prescription of Percodan. And if the doctor did that, what would you think of that doctor?
Run.
You would run, right? Well, see, you're asking me to be that doctor right now. I can't do that. I won't do that. So what I need you to do is we need to do that F&A, because right now, the plan you have hasn't worked. And that's not because you're not intelligent, because obviously you're highly intelligent. It's simply you didn't have a plan. So I'm going to make sure that you have a plan, because the kind of income you earn, my gosh, you could be a multi-millionaire, and I want to make sure that you become one, because if I make sure you become one, I'm going to be a hero in your eyes, aren't I?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my goal. All right?
Thank you.
That's how I would handle it. And I would tell him that also, the one thing I would say to him, I say, look, see, I know that you're an incredible person of influence, and that somebody like you, if I did right by you, if I did the right thing and made sure that you won financially, that you would refer me to a lot of great people, and I want to make sure that happens. So I've got to make sure I do, absolutely do the right thing by you. Okay? So I would make sure and let them do that. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to call them on that. See? What do you have to lose? At this point, you have zero to lose. So that's why I would ask that question. So that's why I said, how long have you worked? 15 years. How much do you think you've earned? $1 million. How much cash do you have? Because all of a sudden that's like, woo! Zero. $1 million. The guy should have at a minimum $100,000 if he didn't even get a return on that money. Right? A minimum. He really should probably have about $250,000 at least. Okay, with any growth. He has no money. The reason he has no money because he has no plan. That's the only reason he doesn't have money, because someone didn't sit down with him, do an F&A 15 years ago, and implement a plan. That's the only reason. That's why it's so important that you do the F&A, you guys. You have to do that F&A. The F&A is everything for that client. It allows the client to accomplish everything. You are essentially committing malpractice by not doing that. It's wrong. It's wrong.
Hector, on the F&A that you answered for Trina Brown. Okay, so she went back with the F&A, and the guy wants to think about it, right? And she's not going to leave the F&A with her.
Right.
Well, the guy's going to say, you know what, I thought this was complimentary, and this is
complimentary for our clients, Fiji. I just want to be clear. That's what, when I was here earlier, I mentioned our F&As are complimentary for our clients. But right now you aren't our client, so obviously it's not complimentary. As soon as you become a client, you obviously you're going to have this. It's a living document. I will upgrade it every quarter, every 6 months, once a year, however you'd like me to do that, and I will be your personal financial analyst, and I'll help you make correct decisions. If you have any questions about anything, I'm a phone call away, and I guarantee you, my goal is to make sure that everything happens just like I'm portraying to happen, because if I don't, you're not going to continue to do business with me, and you're not going to give me referrals, are you? Are you?
But this is my personal information, Hector. I mean, I don't want you to keep that.
Listen, it's a personal information, and it's not going to get to anybody. We have a fiduciary responsibility not to share that information. The only people that would know this information are the separate companies within Citigroup, within Primerica Financial Services, that have access. Other than that, absolutely no one else with that information, because if I allow that information to get out, you can sue me, and you will win, okay? And I'm not interested in being sued, and I'm not interested in creating that kind of reputation, so you don't need to be worried about that. That it will absolutely not get out to anybody. Okay.
I understand, Hector, but I know the night when you came in and got a commitment from me, I will do business with you, but I just don't want to do it right now.
Okay, and I don't have a problem with that. You don't have to do it right now. You can do whenever you feel like doing it.
But I want to go over the F&A with, my...
Listen, the problem is if you go over the F&A, you don't understand the F&A like I understand. I'm here with you. I'll go over it with you step by step. If you want to take another hour to go over it, I'm more than willing to do that with you, and I'll answer any question you might have, okay? So if you would like to do that, let's get started. I would love to do that for you. But I'm not going to leave it with you, okay?
All right,
because I put 6 hours of my life into this, and the truth is, just like when you work 6 hours, do you expect to be compensated, Fiji?
Yes.
Okay, so do I. Is that fair?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I'm asking. All I'm asking is for fairness.
Very good. Thank you, Hector.
Okay? See what I'm saying? If you see how I asked the question? I made him say it. I didn't say it. When you work 6 hours, Fiji, do you feel like you should get compensated? He says yes. So if I work 6 hours, I expect to be compensated. That's fair, isn't it? See, what's he going to do? He's going to be mad at you because you want to get compensated for your work? If he does, he's a jerk. You don't want to do business with him anyways. You with me? If you ask the right questions, it's the key.
Just a quick comment. I usually tell people that you only keep things and want to do business if it's of value to you. So basically, with you not wanting to do business tonight, then the F&A has no value. So why do you want to hang on to something that has no value?
Right. That's fine. You could say that too. That works too. And I just the bottom line is this, okay? When people know that you value yourself and your time, they will value you and your time. Okay? People can only take advantage of us if we allow them to. That's the only time they can do that. People will not take advantage of you unless you let them. It's that simple. Okay? Trina.
Okay, I have someone at my job who agreed to do an F&A. She's rescheduled on me several times now. Finally got down to it that
How many times?
4 times. She kept putting it off on her husband, though.
Okay, she's a flake. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So, basically.
Not basically, she is a flake. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. She wants to do it. She admits that she needs to do it. We finally got down to what the issue was, and she has a problem with me knowing her business.
Okay.
So I suggested that I would have someone else do it for her, and we set up another appointment to do that. And then I called her to make sure that we were still on, and she said, you know what, I think I'm just not ready to do this right now. I don't want to know what my situation is on paper.
Okay, she's honest. That's good. That's good because generally most people don't want to know. You know, people don't want to know what's wrong with them. They don't want to admit it because it's painful. Bottom line, you know, a lot of you haven't done your FNAs because you don't want to know either. You know who I'm talking to, right? And you haven't implemented it either, just because you're a flake just like they are. Okay.
Would you leave it at that?
Okay. No, what I would do is I'd say, what's your name?
Melinda.
Melinda. I say, Melinda, listen, I know you're afraid of finding out, but are you really excited about your financial situation right now?
No.
Okay. Why do you think your financial situation is like it is?
Because we spend more money than we make.
And because, Melinda, you don't have any kind of plan. And you're just going willy-nilly through life. You work, how many hours a week do you work?
40.
And your husband?
40.
Okay, so you work 80 hours a week and you make X number of dollars a month. I don't know what you make, but you probably make between you guys $5,000 or more a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
So $60,000 to $100,000 a year is going into your budget and out of your budget. Am I right?
Right.
And you have no idea how that's happening and what's going on with that, really.
True.
Okay. So if you worked for a company that had money coming in and money going out and nobody managed that money, would you be comfortable working for that company?
No.
Okay. So you're running your personal life that way. So if you don't make a change and you don't take a look at it, you're potentially heading for some challenges. Am I right?
Yeah, I know. We're actually, if I don't do something by August, I'm going to have some problems, but I don't feel
I understand,
comfortable.
Melinda, but listen to yourself, okay? Listen to yourself, okay? What you're saying makes absolutely no sense, okay? Am I right?
Exactly.
It makes no sense.
Right.
Why don't we just sit down, let's set the appointment, let's get it done, all right? Let's make it happen. Stop being a flake. Because honestly, you know I like you, but you're a flake right now, all right? And you need to stop being a flake. You need to get serious about your fun. Let me help you. It's going to take a few hours, okay? We're going to sit down for a couple hours. We're going to do your F&A. We're going to come back for an hour or so. We're going to implement that F&A. And we're only going to do what's comfortable for you at this point, and we're not going to do anything unless it helps your situation, okay? The thing is, you keep on procrastinating. What ends up happening, that's why most people aren't successful financially, because they keep putting things off. And you want to be financially successful, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, so the only way it's going to happen is you put together a plan. Let's make a commitment. Let's stick to it. When can you do it and not flake out on me?
Okay.
Okay, see, like you might go, I can't say that to somebody. What do you have to lose? Huh? What do you know what I'm saying? What do you have to lose? As long as you say it with a good heart, you know, you're not being rude to them, you're just telling them. You got to be more direct with people. Because people, see, if you're not direct with people, people will drag you all over the place. Okay? They will drag you everywhere. You must learn how to be direct with people. Okay? Because if you don't, that's what happens. You're having to call back 20 times. If you are having to reschedule, it's because you're not being direct with people. If you're going on appointments and people are like putting you off 2 and 3 times, it's your fault. It's always your fault because you're not being direct with them. Not rude. If I have an appointment with somebody and they reschedule once, that's fine. Things come up. If they reschedule twice, it could happen. They reschedule the 3rd time, I'm going to say, listen, Lynn, you've rescheduled on me 3 times. I know your time is very valuable, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, and so is mine. Every time you reschedule on me, it kind of puts a snafu in my schedule, and I'm very busy, just like you're very busy. And I'm the kind of person that honors other people's time, and I expect that you would honor mine as well. When can we make a commitment and a time that you can actually keep?
This Saturday.
Fantastic. Okay, what time? See, I would do that. You might go, well, I wouldn't do that. What if they don't like me? They don't like you now. Or else they'd sit down with you. They think your time's worthless. They think you don't care about yourself. Because you keep allowing it to happen, right? You've got to be more direct, guys. Way more. If I sit down with somebody and I give them my time and I'm going to give them my expertise, I expect something in return. I expect them to make a commitment. I expect them to tell me yes or no. I'm not afraid of no. I rather no than say maybe. I don't like maybe. Maybe doesn't mean, maybe's no commitment. You know? Maybe's no good. I want to know yes or no. Are we going to do business? Are we not going to do business? Are we going to get together? Are we not going to get together? Because if we're not, I want to know so I can go prospect for some other people so I can fill up that time slot with somebody who's not a flake. That I can get something happening with. I want to know.
Hector, I got about 3 or 4 people out of the office in Temecula where I work. Clients who like what we do. We help them out.
Okay.
But they're finding it too far to travel down here for the op night.
Okay. So, how often can you get them out here? What is it, like an hour drive or 45 minutes?
About an hour drive.
An hour drive, okay. What I would do is one of two things. You have two options. You can find an office in the Temecula area where you can network them. If they say they want to get going and they're not willing to drive, network them to somebody out there. I know I can give you leads.
Okay.
There's a guy named Ed Anani out there that is a good friend of mine, and he's doing a really good job, and we can network them to him. Okay. That way, at least you get 25% of what they're doing. Okay. If you can get them to commit, say, look, if you could find somebody that's serious about their life, then you get them over here and say, look, make a commitment. You're talking about driving out here twice a week, Tuesday and Saturday. Okay, so you're talking about 4 hours worth of driving and maybe 4 hours worth of meetings. Okay, we're talking about maybe a 10-hour commitment a week total. If I could show you how to make $100,000 a year with a 10-hour commitment a week, would you explore that? Would you at least try that first before you make the decision? So get them to start here. If they find out it's too heavy for them, then we'll network them. No problem. Because 25% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Right? Okay, so that's how I would do it, just like that. So if they're really interested, then get them out at least once. Let's close them on getting on the business. If they find this is just too hard for them from a drive standpoint, which is not a big deal. I mean, I've had people drive from all over the place to be here. So I mean, some of you drive from anybody drive like 45 minutes or farther? Yeah, quite a few of you. Okay, so that's a lame excuse if they're really serious. Right. If they're not, if they can't make that kind of commitment, you maybe don't want to work with them. You may rather network them to somewhere where if convenience is a bigger and more important to them than this, then maybe that's not who you want to recruit. But it doesn't mean you can't recruit them and network them somewhere else because, hey, why not, right?
Right.
Okay. So that's what I would do with them. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, on that one about leaving the FNA, client that I had didn't turn out to be a client.
Okay, good.
I did the FNA, and what he said, he wasn't ready to go ahead because he talked to his soon-to-be father-in-law.
Okay.
Who's
a financial expert, right?
Right. Well, he has been in business for so many years.
Yeah,
exactly right. And he wanted to know if he could have it and share with him. So I told him, well, no. Yeah. He can show me his plan that his father-in-law
has for him,
and we could do a comparison.
Perfect.
And see which one works best.
Perfect.
And, I'd be willing to sit down with his father-in-law and see if, since he's a business owner, I'd like to get into his market as well.
That is absolutely, Timmy, that is perfect. That is the way you handle it. You handle it perfectly. And what ended up happening then?
Well, he said he talked to his father-in-law. This just happened the other day, and we're going to see what happens from there.
Okay. His father has no plan. Okay, his father-in-law is great at his business, has no clue financially guaranteed. Okay, maybe a little clue, but not much of one.
He figured the insurance cost was too much for him, but that's what he wanted.
I think you handled that just absolutely perfectly. I'd be more than happy to take a look at your father's plan, have him show you his plan, and then we'll sit down, we'll compare the two plans together. It's like genius. I love it. That's what I would do. I wouldn't change that. Matter of fact, I'm going to use that. And I love that. That's perfect. That is really, really good. If somebody says, I want to show it to my father-in-law, say, listen, I tell you what, why don't you do this? why don't you get your father-in-law's plan together, and then I'll sit down with you and we'll compare his plan to my plan, and we'll see which one makes more sense. And if his makes more sense, then I'll use that one. You know. David.
Hector, I'm wondering how long you. At what point do you decide? At what point do you accept no?
For what?
Well, let's say you're following up like one of these people who like strings you along, you know, resets it and stuff like that. At what point do you
give up?
Give up, yeah.
Okay. If they're in the market, you said, what time do I give up? If they're in the market, they're the right people, married, children, homeowner, all the 5 pointers, I don't give up. Because, I mean, I'm just not going to. I might follow up less frequently, but I'm not giving up. The thing is that if you ask pointed questions, you get yes or no. See, the problem that you have, if they're stringing you along, you're not asking pointed questions, okay? You're just like like if somebody strung me along like 3 times, like I said earlier, I would say, look, this is the 3rd time you've rescheduled on me, Dave. I was assuming when we first met that when I first talked, that you were really serious about your financial situation. Am I incorrect in thinking that?
No.
You are then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then if you're really serious, then we need to make a firm commitment on when we're going to get together, because my time, just like yours, is very valuable. I don't want to waste any of your time, and I know you don't want to waste any of my time, right?
Right.
Okay. So when can we when can we set a time that you can commit to, that you can actually keep that commitment?
Well, I just don't think we're ready to do this at this time.
You're not ready to do what?
To deal with any financial stuff.
Do you have a financial plan already?
Yeah, I do some investing on the side, and, you know, I think I got things pretty
So then
okay.
you're really not serious about your financial future, is that what you're saying to me?
No, I mean, I got Quicken going, and,
What's your debt freedom date?
My what?
Debt freedom date.
Well, I really don't have that much debt. I mean, I pretty much have my debt paid off, except my home, of course.
When's your debt freedom date?
Whenever the mortgage is paid off.
When is that?
Boy, let's see. We've been in the house about 5 years now. Probably
So
25 years.
So
yeah.
if I could show you how you reduce 10 years off of that, without really doing much, doing a few little different things, that would be of interest to you?
Well, how would you do that?
Well, that's why we need to get together. It's kind of like me trying to give you a haircut over the phone. It's impossible. We need to sit down. You see how it always comes back to asking questions?
Yeah.
Huh? Always questions.
Well, we really don't have that much time right now, though.
How many hours a week do you work?
I work, like 40, 50 hours a week.
Okay. So there's 20. So you work about 8 to 10 hours a day.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
There's 24 hours in a day. 8 to sleep, 10 to work, 18. It gives you 6 extra hours per day. 5 days. That's 30 hours.
Well,
all we need is 2. All we need is 2 of the 30. Okay. When can we work that in? See, you think I'm crazy, huh? You think I would say that in a heartbeat. Because what do I have to lose at this point? Nothing. Zero. I want to point out how see, one of the things I always try to do is to point out through questions how ridiculous it is what people tell me. I make them justify what they say to me. I always make people justify something. I don't have time, so if he tells me I don't have time, how many hours a week do you work? Boom, tells me, okay, 50, okay, that's 10 hours a day. 10 hours a day, and you sleep for 8, that gives you 6 extra hours, okay? So what do you do with the extra 6 hours? Plus the weekends is another 50, so we've got now 80 hours a week that you have available to your discretion. When somebody tells you you don't have time, they're full of crap, okay? It's never true, ever. What they're saying is, I don't believe the time we're going to spend is worth investing in. It's never that they don't have the time. I never buy they don't have the time. It's not true. It's simply not true. Because if somebody says I don't have the time, I will always come back with, Paul, if you won the lottery today, it was $20 million, but they said that you had to keep your job, plus you had to invest 10 extra hours a week in community service. Could you find the time? And he's going to say, of course. So then it's not a question of whether you have the time or not. It's whether you think the time you're going to invest is worth it, isn't it? So if I can prove to you that it's going to be that I can save you X number of dollars, get you out of debt sooner, I can show you how to end up with hundreds of thousands more in your retirement, if I can show you how to make sure you have a plan that's going to get your children educated, if I can show you, is there any reason why we couldn't get together? See, when you start getting more direct with it, and say it in a nice way, I'm not going to say it rude, I'm going to say it in a very nice way, okay? But if you start doing that, you won't believe what'll start happening. You'll start getting people to do stuff. You just will. It'll happen. Another question.
One other question. When you are following up with somebody, for instance, let's say they cancel an appointment or something like that, what is a reasonable? What's a reasonable time for following up?
First of all, when they cancel the appointment, okay, if they call me, if I talk to them or cancel the appointment, I say, okay, this is how I always, if somebody you call me, and Dave, you call me and say, Hector, I got to cancel the appointment, something came up. I say, okay, I understand that. No problem. And I wanted to thank you so much for calling me because I am so busy, I don't even know how to see straight. I've got so many people that need to see me. You freeing me up just made somebody very happy. Thank you so much for doing that. And I've got my calendar out right now. When can we make our next appointment? Now, the next day I have available is next Wednesday at 6 o'clock or next Thursday at 8. Which one of those days is better for you?
Either.
What's the next available day that you have, then?
Boy, we're real busy. Probably 2 weeks.
What day?
A week from Saturday.
A week from Saturday, what time?
1 o'clock.
You have a calendar, right?
Mm-hmm.
You write that in the calendar because, you know, one of the things I like about you, Dave, you seem like you're a person of your word. Or am I correct in assuming that?
Don't talk to my wife, but...
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so then could you do me a favor? I'm going to wait. Why don't you put that in your calendar because I know things can come up and we get very busy, we forget. So if you do that, while you're doing that, I'll write it in mine and I'll make sure. I'm not even going to call you because I know you're a man of word. I'm just going to show up at your house, okay?
Okay.
All right, great. So that's what I do. And I'd make them commit. I'd make them write it down. Get it in your calendar. I'm going to put it in my calendar. You know, because see, if you don't do that, well, oh, you know what, I forgot, right? No, forget. We don't forget. If you write things down, we don't forget.
Okay, but let's say you got a cancellation on a message machine or something like that, and then you try to call them back to give them that, and you don't get them. You know, they're not there. You know, and I get this. You know,
if
some people are really hard to catch.
If it's not far away, I'm showing up.
Okay.
Okay. If I don't have to drive more than about 20 or 30 minutes, I'm there. Really? I'm sorry. Hey, listen, you got 15, 20 minutes to sit down. We'll do it real quick. Because I did that all the time, okay? If I got a voice message and it was close, I'm showing up. If it's an hour, I'm gonna call. Of course, I'm not going to drive out there and reschedule, okay? But if it's close, I'm there. Because at least a worst case scenario, because most of the time people cancel, they don't really have anything going on. They just don't want to bother.
Right. Okay, but let's say
you know why? Because they don't understand the value that it is yet. That's why when you set up the appointment, it's imperative that you explain to them the value of what you're going to do for them. So in other words, when I set up the appointment, I call Dave up, I'm going to say to Dave, I'm going to say, Dave, when we get together, I'm telling you, buddy, you're going to be so excited because I'm going to do a few things. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get out of debt probably 5 to 10 years sooner. In most cases, when I sit down with clients, I save them somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 in interest on their debt. Okay, does that interest you?
Sure.
Another thing I'm going to do is most people are generally not doing the appropriate things when it comes to retirement investments. In my experiences, I usually put several $100,000 extra money in people's retirement accounts just by simply making some correct choices and showing them how to free up some money. I'm going to make sure that you're going to spend the lowest possible amount of money on your insurance costs. So you like spending money on insurance?
No, not.
So if I can show you how to reduce your insurance outgo, would you be excited about that?
Sure.
I'm going to put together a plan that by the end you're going to be so comfortable, so confident that you're doing the right thing. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be the best hour you ever spent in your life. I guarantee you financially. So can't wait to see you. So when I set the appointment like that, what's he thinking? Oh my God, I got to sit down with this guy. I mean, see. What value are they perceiving when you set it up? Huh? What value? If it's just that you're going to waste the time trying to sell them something, or am I going to get you out of debt sooner, save you money there? Am I going to show you how to put more money in your retirement? Am I going to show you how to spend less money in your insurance? I'm going to show you how to put together a plan to educate their kids. I'm going to do all kinds of things, and I'm going to do those things. This is not BS. We're going to do that, right? Okay? So by doing that, what that does now is it presents a different set of issues. Like if you knew somebody's going to help you that much, you would be much less hesitant to reschedule that appointment as opposed to somebody trying to come over and sell you some product. You with me? So when you really listen to this tape, listen to that over and over and get how to set that up. Because if you set it up right, you will have fewer cancellations. I did not have a lot of cancellations. Very rarely did it happen to me, okay? And the reason is how I set the appointment up. It was like that. Okay, you won't have a lot of them.
Do you leave message? I guess I'm still on the same track of trying to follow up with people. I mean, sometimes like some people are hard to get a hold of, and finally it's weeks later before after the appointment got canceled. I mean, do you want to like leave a message at least to let them know that you're serious or do you leave would you leave messages?
I would, yeah, sure. I would leave a message. I'd leave a message and tell them, listen, I'm sorry we missed each other. I know that when we get together, you're going to be really excited. I might send them a note, a little note saying, listen, I'm sorry we missed each other. I just wanted to highlight some of the things we're going to be doing when we get together, and boom, 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 I'd highlight what I'm going to do for you. See? To get you excited about sitting down with me. So that way, if you read the note and then I call, you're much more apt to call me back.
That's good.
You see? That's what I would do.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
I was going to say, I was thinking when you were talking about being direct, that the analogy about the stringing along,
right?
By being direct, you cut the string. So then there's nothing they can string you along on if you're direct.
If you're direct, exactly right. What happens then is the reason most people are less successful than they could be is how they use their time. Essentially all of us have 24 hours, right? We all have the same amount of time. Some people use it much more effectively than other people. That's the simple truth. If you look at how you use your time, that kind of is a clue to how you're doing. That's why if you don't have a day timer, if you are not diligent with your day timer, like one of the things that I'm going to talk to my son about, because I talked to him about he's got a day timer. Sometimes he forgets to write things down, and then he forgets things, okay? And in lately, a couple times I've had to remind him about stuff, and I don't like that. Because to me, when I have to remind you, it tells me you're a flake. And I don't like that, okay? So I'm going to sit down with them tonight, actually. We're having dinner, and I'm going to talk to them about this. I said, look, I expect you to keep a day timer. If you're going to be successful, you're going to have that day timer with you everywhere you go. It's going to be attached at your hip. Every time you're supposed to do something, I want you to write it in that thing, and I want you to make sure you return calls, and you call people when you say you're going to call them, and you do all the things you say you're going to do, because the only thing you have is your word. If you don't do what you say you're going to do, you're a flake. And people won't trust you. And if people don't trust you, they won't do business with you, and you don't have any chance of being successful. So you better get your rear end and get that thing, and you better be keeping track and committing everything to writing and following up. So you should be doing the same thing. If you're not writing everything down, you're missing. Don't you hate it when somebody says, "I'm going to call you back"? Like you're trying to buy something and they're supposed to call you back or do something, and you call, "Oh, I'm sorry, we weren't able to do." Doesn't that drive you out of your mind? Does that make you feel good about that person? No, it makes you feel PO'd, right? Well, guess what? You can't believe when I was really on it. I had a day timer. That thing, I wouldn't move without that thing. Okay, I was everywhere. I wrote every single thing down. If I had to call, if I talked to Lynn and Lynn said, "Hey, listen, why don't you call me back? Today's the 12th. Call me back on the 28th at 6 o'clock." As soon as he tells me that, to the 28th, call Lynn back 6 o'clock. I write his telephone number. I look at my day before I go to bed at night. I look at what I got to do tomorrow. I look at it in the morning when I get up. I know, and I'm looking at it all throughout the day. At 6 o'clock, I'm on the phone. I give him a call. "Hey, Lynn, you told me to call you 6 o'clock at the 28th. At 6 o'clock, I'm calling you back." And Lynn's going, "Whoa. This guy's unbelievable. How did he remember that?" He didn't remember that. He wrote it down. All of a sudden, I'm a man of my word, right? I call them back. Or I'm sitting with a client and they have a question about something, right? And they say, and I tell them, I don't know the answer to that right now, Lynn. I tell you what, I'm going to write that down. I'll get back to you tomorrow by 5 o'clock. I write it down. Next thing I know, I got to find out this information. I get the information. I'm on the phone before 5 o'clock. I call Lynn. Lynn, I got that information. This is what it is. Blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, and every time something happens, I do that. Pretty soon, I've got tons of credibility with Lynn. Lynn now has no problem referring me to people. Why? Because I do what I say I'm going to do. That's why. That's why you have to have a day timer and you have to have it with you every second, and why you have to write everything down, because your credibility is totally dependent on that. Completely. And you know what? Half you don't have them. Most of you that have them don't use them like that, and you don't keep track of stuff. You forget stuff. You're a flake. You don't like hearing that, but that's what you are to people. So guess what? They don't trust you. You know who I give, like we get lots of leads that come in the door. You know who I give them to? People that do what they tell me they're going to do. That's the only people I give leads to. And I check. They do them. They did it. Got it done. Yeah, okay. They get all the leads. They don't do it. Right, Rob? We give them to the people we know are going to do it. What they say they're going to do. It's that simple. That's how your life works. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing.